ourselves and the ones we love. Ultimately meaning that we have empty streets, many closed doors, and limited movement. Yet, it's in times like these that the Kenyan spirit of resilience, unity, and resolve has in the past come to life and emboldened us as a people. Even now, amid the uncertainty and gloom, there is hope. Hope that together we will overcome this challenge and rise again as a nation. And when we do, the magic of Kenya will be here to take us on a thrilling adventure. We will once again do what we love, take to our sunny beaches to revitalize, and we will once again go back to having unforgettable safaris. Without a doubt, we will be back to creating memories together over good food and company, hanging out with friends as we cheer on our favorite teams, and taking a break from the everyday hustle at the park or even with just a good night out. Together, we will overcome this moment, and we will be back to doing all the things we love doing most. Magical Kenya. The magic awaits.
Yeyote aliye na kinga hafifu mwilini yuko katika hatari ya kuambukizwa COVID-19. Hao ni kama watu ambao wanaishi na magonjwa kama vile virusi vya HIV, kansa, TB, kisukari, miongoni mwa magonjwa mengine. Lazima wazingatie matibabu ili kuboresha kinga mwilini. Lazima wahakikishe wamepata dawa ipasavyo. Tembelea kliniki yako au kituo cha afya kilicho karibu nawe kwa maelezo kamili kuhusu jinsi ya kupata dawa. Pia wasaidie jamaa na rafiki kupata dawa. Dumisha mawasiliano nao na ufuate mwongozo wa kiafya kutoka kwa kituo cha afya ili kujikinga na virusi vya korona. Pata habari kuhusu COVID-19 kupitia vyanzo vinavyoaminika. Piga 719 au bonyeza *719#. COVID-19 inazuilika. Jilinde, linda familia na jamii. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na serikali ya Kenya.
Well, a very warm welcome to Channel 1 News Hour. My name is Catherine Achieng'a. Now, the number of coronavirus cases in the country has officially hit the 11,000 mark after 461 persons tested positive in the last 24 hours. Of course, this coming as the county governments are warning that they may soon be overwhelmed. That is some of the stories that we are following for you tonight. But let's take a look at what's also coming up on Channel 1 News Hour in the highlights.
Leo tumepima sampuli 14,261 na kati ya hizi masampuli ambapo tumepima 461 zimepatikana kuwa positive.
Number of confirmed COVID-19 cases surges to 11,252 after 461 new cases were confirmed on Wednesday amid mounting concerns by county administrations. National Assembly Committee is ordered to fill vacant positions by Friday in the wake of a purge instituted by ruling Jubilee Party and its affiliates.
But let's make sure that these local flights are the benchmark for success course, if you don't do it properly, it means that opportunity to fly international may be reversed.
And the government to study effectiveness of current aviation health protocols before resumption of international flights.
Welcome back. Lensa Odingo is our sign language interpreter, and my name is Catherine Achieng'a. Let's now focus on the stories that have been shaping the news tonight, and we begin with the latest statistics from the Ministry of Health, which are now indicating that the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Kenya has risen to 11,252 after 461 cases were confirmed on Wednesday. 7 more fatalities were recorded over the last 24 hours, with 2 of the cases having no known pre-existing conditions. The Ministry of Health says the trend is a cause for concern, urging Kenyans to remain alert and observe current guidelines aimed at containing the spread of the virus. Nancy Okware starts off tonight's coverage with that update.
The number of confirmed coronavirus cases in the country shot to 11,252 after 461 new cases were confirmed from a sample size of 4,261. The Ministry of Health warning that the numbers are set to rise in coming days.
Numbers will increase as we approach our peak. And if the numbers increase, of course, even the deaths will significantly increase.
And our projections by our experts using different modeling techniques have indicated that we may be approaching our curve sometime in August or September.
Another cause for concern is the number of fatalities, which are set to rise as numbers increase. 7 more people succumbed to the virus, with a new worrying trend emerging as 2 of the fatalities had no known pre-existing condition.
That is usually a source of worry for us, because then it means either the infection is they are getting a more serious form of the infection, which therefore means that we need to be able to warn the young people that not everybody who gets COVID, you could be that unlucky person who gets a more serious form of COVID-19 and therefore succumb to it.
The number of recoveries also rose to 3,068 after 51 patients were discharged.
We do not know with any certainty whether people who have recovered from coronavirus get reinfected again. There may have been some cases here and there reported, but it cannot be said with certainty, and there isn't enough evidence base to be able to tell whether people who actually recover from the virus stand a chance of being reinfected.
We continue to offer them psychosocial support, advice on nutrition, the kind of foods to eat, and of course the need to maintain other infection prevention control measures.
As at Wednesday, 1,049 patients were admitted at various health facilities in the country, out of which 39 are in the intensive care unit, 21 under ventilator support, whereas 18 require supplementary oxygen. In terms of distribution of the cases per county, Nairobi had 248 cases, Machakos 97, Kiambu 20, Kajiado 15, Migori 14, Busia 12, Nakuru 11, Laikipia and Nyeri each recorded 7 cases, while Kilifi had 6 cases.
With the Ministry of Health banking on individual responsibility among Kenyans and county preparedness to flatten the COVID-19 infection curve, it is warning Kenyans that the numbers are set to rise further, hence the need to keep adhering to the containment measures in place. Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
And now, Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa is challenging county governments that are yet to set up the 300-bed capacity beds in readiness for admission of COVID-19 patients to expedite the process in the wake of surging positive cases. Wamalwa says the national government has already extended requisite financial support to help devolved units address emerging challenges.
It was the signing of a partnership between the national government, Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, alongside the Health Relief International, where Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa would challenge county administrations to expedite establishment of 300-bed wards. Wamalwa saying that the national government has already disbursed 5 billion shillings to counties, besides 6 billion shillings disbursed through the Devolution Support Program and a further 3 billion from the Ministry of Health.
And as national government, we have already supported them through the 5 billion that was released. Just 2 weeks ago, we were able to release through the Kenya Devolution Support Program another 6 billion. We are also through the Ministry of Health, we had another 3 billion released. So we want them to do their best to ensure that they prepare well as the numbers increase and as we move towards the peak of this very dreaded disease.
In the meantime, the government may force foreigners jetting into the country when international air travel resumes to produce COVID-19 free certificates or go on mandatory quarantine. Government spokesman Cyrus Oguna says the National Emergency Response Committee was considering various options on how best to handle persons entering the country when the government reopens the country's borders on August 1st, 2020.
Ajabu kwamba licha kuwa walikuwa wamesema watafungua wakafunga tena. Unaelewa? Inawezekana. Kama haitawezekana ni kwamba watatoa maelekezo ya kufuata kwamba huwezi panda ndege kama huja kuwa na cheti cha nini? Cha corona. Kwamba umepimwa na uko sawa ndio uweze kuingia kwa ndege.
Elsewhere, Chair of the Private School Teachers Association in Mombasa County, Omar Mbuli, wants both the national and county governments to cushion private school teachers affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Kwa hivyo tunaiomba serikali yetu tukufu itusaidie as investors kwa chakula ya walimu wetu na wafanyajikazi wetu kwa ujumla, na hata sisi as directors watusaidie na pesa ambazo zinaweza kutusaidia kulipa rent kwa building zetu.
Meanwhile, sex predators preying on underage girls will face the full force of the law. Speaking in Tharaka Nithi County, when he disbursed masks and sanitizers, State Department for University Education and Research Principal Secretary Ambassador Simon Nabukwesi said it was unfortunate that cases of schoolgirls becoming pregnant was on an upward trend.
Tunataka hawa watoto wakae kama watoto, sio wanawake. Wakae kama watoto, wakati ambapo wenzao wanarudi shule, hata wao warudi shule wasome. Sio kuwabadilisha, kuwafanya wazazi mapema ili wasiweze kupata masomo yao. Kwa hivyo tujilinde kutokana na corona na tulinde watoto wetu wawe na hekima, wawe na heshima, wajilinde, wangoje wakati ambapo shule zitafunguliwa wasome kwa sababu masomo ni muhimu.
And the Kenya COVID-19 Fund, in partnership with Equity Foundation, has donated personal protective equipment to Baringo County to help frontline workers in the fight against the spread of coronavirus. In Uasin Gishu, the COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund board members handed over a consignment of personal protective equipment and face masks to Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret that are expected to last for the next 18 months.
Once the first line of defense is infringed, that somebody gets infected, you form the second line of defense. We'll support you with the PPEs, as we have said, for the 18 months, and ask God to give you the passion and the courage to serve humanity by responding to this high calling of trying to reduce pain and suffering of humanity caused by this coronavirus pandemic.
Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Channel 1 News.
And now the Council of Governors is warning that counties may be forced to adopt lockdown measures based on individual COVID-19 burden. Council's Chair, Wycliffe Oparanya, says the current trend in new infections point at testing times ahead for county administrations, even as he called on the national government to ensure testing kits are available to counties to ensure the actual status of COVID-19 within devolved units is established. Simon Achola has the report.
We have worked very closely with
With the lifting of partial lockdown that had been slapped on sections of the country, fears remain rife that the spread of COVID-19 disease might soon overwhelm county administrations. Council of Governors Chair Wycliffe Oparanya is now warning that individual counties may be forced into lockdown to avert inter-county transmission of coronavirus if the current trend in confirmed cases continue.
In the event that the situation gets dire, individual county government will have no choice but, in consultation with the President, seek to lock down the affected county to contain the rapid spread and protect lives.
We know our brothers and sisters
from various towns are returning home because of the economic problems they have faced in the towns where they have been because of loss of the livelihoods. We want, as they come back, let us be careful on how we interact with them.
Speaking in Vihiga County during the council's weekly briefing, Oparanya said with the opening of the country, the threat posed by the pandemic remains grave, even as he warned Kenyans to strictly adhere to containment measures as set out by the Ministry of Health to ensure the situation does not get out of hand.
It will be unfortunate for Kenyans to perish for lack of information. Hence, there is need for concerted effort to create awareness, as this is a war which we have to fight together for the sake of our country, Kenya.
As the committee in charge of COVID-19 response committee, we have resolved that we are going to ensure that all the regulations and guidelines are enforced where people refuse to practice or adhere to them.
Testing for the virus remains a key challenge, and the governor is calling on the national government to ensure more testing centers are gazetted at the county level to ensure more people are tested and the true scale of the virus infection at the county level is known. Achola Simon, reporting for Channel 1 News from Vihiga County.
Now, all National Assembly committees whose composition are incomplete have until Friday to fill the vacant positions. While issuing the ultimatum, House Speaker Justin Muturi ordered the 22 committees whose membership was affected by a recent purge instituted by the ruling party and its affiliates to conduct the required elections and submit respective names within 48 hours. It is, however, expected that no major challenge will arise in filling the vacant positions after the majority and minority sides agreed on how to share the key slots available after the oust of Deputy President William Ruto allied lawmakers. Gladys Mungai has the report.
Parliament appears to have moved to tighten loose ends amid fears of possible exposure of members to the deadly coronavirus. While noting that there has been increase in cases of COVID-19 among legislators, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi ordered that the House committees must abandon physical meetings and instead embrace virtual meetings with an approval from his office.
I hereby further direct that all committee sittings are suspended until Tuesday, July 28, 2020. Thereafter, committees will only operate virtually as per my guidance above.
According to the Speaker, the lawmakers must protect themselves even as they endeavor to help the country fight COVID-19.
Members of Parliament and staff are encouraged to undergo voluntary testing and self-isolate in case they come into contact with a positive case or a suspected positive case in accordance with the Ministry of Health guidelines.
His directive coming amid an ultimatum for all committee whose membership is not complete to have the vacant position filled by close of business this week.
Facilitate the elections to be held tomorrow, Thursday, July 16, 2020, and others to be held on Friday, July 17, 2020. The clerk has made necessary arrangements and has circulated a schedule showing the date and respective times appointed for election of chairpersons or vice chairpersons of the 22 committees.
The position in questions are those previously occupied by MPs, though to be allies of William Ruto, who are purged by both the ruling party and the leading opposition outfit ODM of alleged failure to toe the party lines. In the elections slated for Thursday and Friday, the Orange Democratic Movement is said to have settled on Homa Bay woman Rep Gladys Wanga to chair the Finance and Planning Committee, while her Busia counterpart Florence Mutua will chair Education Committee. The Raila Odinga-led party is said to have settled on Rieda Member of Parliament Otiende Amolo as the new vice chairperson of the Power for Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, while his Homa Bay town counterpart Peter Kaluma will serve as the vice chairperson of the Constitutional Implementation Oversight Committee. According to the Speaker, the two-day election will pave way for fumigation of Parliament to reduce risks posed by COVID-19. For Channel 1 News, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Now, a report on the state of social protection in Kenya reveals that the bulk of the vulnerable population in the country are yet to benefit from the government's social protection coverage. Dubbed Progressive Pathways Towards Universal Social Protection System in Kenya, the Joint Social Development Goals report recommends the expansion of social protection as well as strengthening of linkages between social protection, agriculture, and livelihood opportunities.
With the Constitution guaranteeing economic, social and cultural rights for all Kenyans, the government has implemented a raft of measures meant to cushion vulnerable groups from economic turbulence. A report on the state of social protection in the country, dubbed Progressive Pathway Towards Universal Social Protection System in Kenya, however, reveals that 78% of vulnerable persons have been excluded from the government's social protection coverage, with only 12% of households benefiting from social protection. And despite the country expanding the coverage of its national cash transfer to 1.3 million households in 2019, 12% of Kenyans remain food insecure. Labour and Social Protection Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui is saying the government remains committed to ensure coverage of those excluded while improving the delivery and support of the 22% already covered by the government intervention.
The measure of government and leadership of the country is not on the big programs, the projects, the airports, the railways. It is the support and the funding and the cushioning of the poor and vulnerable that truly measures and connects government with the people. It gives us a lot of satisfactions every time.
Chelugui says the joint report will be instrumental in mobilizing increased budgetary allocations to enhance cross-sectoral interventions that will include scaling up appropriate gender-sensitive social protection policies and programs in rural areas.
In Nairobi and all our urban areas, we have not seen any social unrest because of these interventions that we are doing as a government. Elsewhere, other countries, we've seen how this wrong management of this crisis has led to people moving out of estates to streets and to shops, but we have been able to control.
The assurance coming amid calls for more public-private sector partnerships to support vulnerable groups, especially during the coronavirus pandemic.
We note that this joint program will contribute and support the government of Kenya to continue moving away from poverty-targeted social protection, which exclude very many vulnerable people, towards a more inclusive and universal approach. COVID-19 has taught us that every person is at risk of falling into poverty at some point in life, and therefore social protection can protect all people from the risk of poverty in all its dimensions. Experience and available literature has shown that investing in
the SDG joint program aims to support the government to operationalize universal social protection through generation of evidence, advocacy and policy, and development of specific plans and financing strategies to make social protection for all Kenyans a reality. Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
Well, you are watching Channel 1 News Hour. It's time for us to take our first break, but when we come back, we have details of the debate in Parliament as they cleared Nancy Gathungu for appointment for the position of Auditor General. Stay tuned for that after this break.
Jiamini na ujikubali kuwa wewe kibinafsi. Ikiwezekana, cheza kama wewe, kwa sababu wengine wote wameshachukuliwa. Aliyesalia ni wewe mwenyewe, na kando yako hakuna mwingine. Inakufaa kucheza ngoma kiwewe, kana kwamba
Kupata ujiamini, bonyeza *811 *817 hash. Bonyeza *811 *817 hash.
From the Mount Kenya region to Eastern, to the Rift Valley, to Western, and even the Coast region. smallholder farmers have a tale to tell about the household water storage project.
Sasa kabla hii damu haijashimbwa tulikuwa na shida sana ya maji. Hata mifugo yetu hakuwa anapata maji.
Hii water pan imenisaidia sana juu ya hali ya kiangazi wakati inatupiga. Tunapigwa sana na wakati wa kiangazi.
Watch it on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Jumapili hii kwenye runinga ya KBC, ungana naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation Fellowship Kiambu kuanzia saa 1 hadi saa 2 asubuhi.
Ningetaka nikwambie, our Jehovah God, because the Bible says he is the same yesterday, today and forevermore. He is able to take you to a place of abundance. He is able to take you to Rehoboth in the name of Jesus Christ.
Kipindi ni neno la neema, ukiletewa naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation Fellowship Kiambu. Usikose.
Welcome back. If you're joining us, you're watching Channel 1 News Hour. Let's now focus on events that happened in Parliament earlier this afternoon. And Nancy Janet Kabuiga-Dhungu is the new Auditor General after the National Assembly approved her appointment to the office that has remained vacant since the retirement of Edward Ouko. Supporting the nomination of Gadhungu as the new Auditor General, the leadership of the House watchdog committees, which are the main consumers of audit reports, referred to complicated financial planning and reporting for state corporations whose books cannot be closed without a substantive Auditor General signing their reports.
The National Assembly has confirmed the suitability of Nancy Janet Kabuiga-Dhungu as the next Auditor General. Gadhungu, who has been serving as the Director of Quality Assurance at the Auditor General's office, received endorsement from both sides of the House. The leadership of the House watchdog committees, which are the main consumers of audit reports for state agencies, registered the importance of having a new office holder fill the gap that has existed for almost 1 year.
The Auditor General that we have now, Mr. Speaker, looks at how you have applied the law on the use of the money, public funds. He looks at whether the law was followed. He also looks at whether there was value for money.
The essence of this provision in the Constitution is to enable Parliament to play its role of oversight.
The approval of Gadhungu by MPs will mark the end of 2 attempts by President Uhuru Kenyatta to fill the position. The process to replace Ouko began immediately after his retirement, but the first panel, chaired by Sami Onyango, re-advertised the position, saying none of the 17 candidates shortlisted after the first interviews met the criteria for the job. Lack of a substantive Auditor General has complicated financial planning and reporting for state corporations whose books cannot be closed without having endorsement of a substantive Auditor General.
We must amend the Audit Act, we must amend the Constitution, if that has to be, to make sure that we create a transitional mechanism that 6 months, 8 months to the exit of the Auditor General, because they have a tenure of office, that the recruitment process starts. Because Parliament cannot wait.
Meanwhile, the National Assembly Administration Committee wants security officers to undertake regular refresher courses to transform from National Police Force to National Police Service, responding to questions by MPs regarding increased cases of extrajudicial killings and police brutality. Committee Chairperson Paul Koinange submitted that rogue police officers will soon be arraigned in court.
Where the police get a lot of training, then the police usually behave the way they are supposed to behave. But where there is no more training, enough training, is a problem. And the Honorable Speaker, very soon, as a committee, we are going to recommend that all the police officers in Kenya should go back to school from time to time so they become disciplined people and to be able to serve the people.
Kevin Washera, Channel 1 News.
And now the Kenya Meteorological Department has issued an advisory warning of strong winds across parts of the country, as well as large waves over the Indian Ocean between tomorrow and Sunday. In the advisory, the weatherman says strong winds blowing at more than 15.4 meters per second are expected over the coastal and eastern sector of the country over the period.
The country has in recent years been experiencing erratic weather patterns, a state of affairs blamed on global warming. And as Kenyans grapple with the cold season amid the coronavirus pandemic, the Kenya Meteorological Department is warning of strong winds across parts of the country. Affected counties include Marsabit, Turkana, Samburu, Mandera, Wajir, Isiolo, Garissa, Kitui, Makueni, Taita Taveta, Tana River, Lamu, Kilifi, Mombasa and Kwale. Residents in affected areas are advised to be on the lookout for very strong winds and very large waves over the Indian Ocean. The wind speed is expected to strengthen on Friday at 3 a.m. and is likely to reduce to 30 knots on Saturday. The advisory says the wave height is likely to be more than 3 meters over the Kenya coastal waters on Friday and is expected to reduce to 2.5 meters on Sunday. The weatherman warning that the strong winds may blow off roofs, uproot trees and cause structural damages, while the high waves may lower visibility, cause capsizing of boats and threaten the safety of those engaging in water sports and recreational activities. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1 News.
And Busia Governor Sospita Ojamong has denied 4 charges relating to graft and abuse of office. Ojamong is among 8 persons facing 4 counts ranging from conspiracy to commit an offense of economic crime to conspiracy to defraud the Busia County government of 8 million shillings.
Appearing before the Anti-Corruption Court in Nairobi, Busia Governor Sospita Ojamong will deny 4 counts of graft-related charges. Ojamong is charged alongside Bwana Diete, Leonard Obimbira, Allen Omachari, Samuel Oseko, Edna Odoyo, Renish Achieng'a, Sebastian Hallinsbin, and Madama Enterprises. They are accused of conspiracy to commit an offense of economic crime, engaging in a project without prior planning, abuse of office, and conspiracy to defraud the Busia County government of 8 million shillings.
According to our initial plan for solid waste management, we are here about a total of 205 million.
Meanwhile, the Employment and Labor Relations Court has barred 5 persons appointed to the Business Premises Tribunal from transacting any business until a petition challenging the appointment is heard and determined. According to the petitioners Bernard Odero and advocate Ian Madenge, the appointment failed to follow requisite procedures.
That means that the BPLT is not in operation as we speak because they were appointed unconstitutionally. The minister cannot appoint people at whims, and that is what the court is agreeing with us.
That decision is going to be a president-setting decision because it will inform how cabinet secretaries will be making appointments from now henceforth.
The case will be mentioned on the 28th of July. Finally, the High Court has adjourned the case involving the murder of lawyer Willie Kimani, citing lack of a suitable court to accommodate all parties. The case involves 4 persons who are charged with the murder of the human rights lawyer, his client Josephat Mwendo, and driver Joseph Mwiruri. Well, the hearing was adjourned to Monday next week to allow the judiciary procure a bigger tent that will accommodate everyone. Reporting for Skills of Justice, Channel 1 News, I'm Sarafina Robbie.
In other news, the country's manufacturing industry has received a major boost after President Uhuru Kenyatta ordered the purchase of 500 hospital beds from local innovators. The works of a group of 3 young people from Kiambu County received attention from the head of state following their use of locally available materials to make quality high-dependency unit beds, which they hope to sell at affordable rates in support of the country's fight against the spread of coronavirus. Catherine Achieng'a has the details.
When Eric Mungai Gathogo, Joseph Muhinja, and Paul Wangaruro from Githunguri sub-county of Kiambu County embarked on an exercise to construct high-dependency unit beds from locally available materials to support the country's fight against the spread of coronavirus, little did they know that their invention will attract so much attention. A picture of their manufacturing prowess posted on social media has been the talk of the nation, and its spread appears to have reached State House after President Uhuru Kenyatta dispatched the President's delivery unit to Githunguri to have a look at the medical infrastructure and confirm their viability.
Yes.
Impressed by the innovation, the team led by PDU Secretary Andrew Wakahiu made an order of 500 such beds, which will be used by the national government to boost bed capacity in public hospitals, which are currently under pressure from the COVID-19 related admissions.
We have a shortage of about 15 or 20,000 beds in the country that are needed very urgently. So we will carry that one bed. We will take it to Kenya Bureau of Standards. But in the meantime, we will immediately give you an order of 500 beds.
Wakahiu said that the beds will be subjected to the Kenya Bureau of Standards protocols on their suitability for hospital use. The young innovators have a month and a half to deliver the beds as the government ropes in a team of expert engineers to help the budding entrepreneurs with equipment and to hasten the production.
I will ensure that, as directed by His Excellency the President, you will have access to all the facilities of government. We will get this standardized by the Kenya Bureau of Standards within the shortest time possible. We will get you access through the SME fund for the requisite capital that you may be requiring to do this project. And we will continue ensuring that you and many other youth in this country who are continuing to do this kind of thing shall continue to have constant market from hospitals that are financed through the taxpayer.
Area Member of Parliament Gabriel Kago also pledged to ensure that the innovators get the much-needed support for their venture.
We do not need to have our youths employed. You can provide employment for our people. Any support you need, I myself as the Member of Parliament, I'm going to provide.
The boost was highly welcomed by the brilliant minds behind the innovation, even as they challenged young people to follow suit.
What I want to tell the young people of this country is that the greatest asset you have is that idea. Once you have that idea, go for it. You will get supporters on the way, like the government of Kenya has done today, and we are going to move this country forward.
This coming as the government remains keen on promoting local innovators and manufacturers in line with the manufacturing pillar of the Big Four agenda. For Channel 1 News, I'm Catherine Achieng'a.
Quite impressive work there by the youth. Now, in Taita Taveta County, the eradication of female genital mutilation is proving to be a challenge, with perpetrators now devising new ways of dodging the law by targeting infants. Youth and Gender Affairs Chief Administrative Secretary Rachel Shebesh says the development has exposed minors to related violations, pledging the government's commitment to end the vice in the county by 2022.
President Uhuru Kenyatta in November last year made a declaration to end female genital mutilation by the year 2022.
I also believe that we can all commit to eliminate violence against women and girls. A woman has a 1 in 3 chance of experiencing physical or sexual violence in her lifetime. This is a major gap in our development record as a global community.
But as that deadline fast approaches, the war against FGM is far from over, as perpetrators are devising new tricks of dodging the long arm of the law. In Taita Taveta County, for instance, a county that is ranked among the 22 counties with high rates of female genital mutilation and gender-based violence, new ways of implementing the vice are emerging. Young children below the age of 1 year are the latest victims of the vice, which continues to claim the lives of thousands of children in the country. The cutting is brutally done in a twinkle of an eye to avoid any suspicions.
Tumepoteza watoto wengi sana kwa sababu wewe kijana umeoa na umeenda kazini, umewacha mke wako nyumbani na amezaa mtoto. Nyanyako anakuja na rafiki yake mkeketaji na anamwambia bibi yako enda utengeneze mgeni chai kwa sababu huyu pia ni nyanyako. Wakati akienda jikoni atasikia mtoto analia ajabu, na ile kazi inafanyika haraka na anapangushwa ile damu haraka na kwa sababu ni pali pa konyeti, hamtakimbilia kuangalia, mtaangalia labda mtoto ameumwa na mdudu, mtaangalia mwili mzima na mtoto anazidi kuumia.
Kama amekeketwa akiwa mchanga, definitely ukienda kumuona mtoto kama huyu utajua, kwa sababu mzazi siko ndani kwa ndani na mtoto wake, so it will be very difficult for one person to know.
Youth and Gender Affairs Chief Administrative Secretary Rachel Shebesh, during her tour of the county, vowed to support efforts to eradicate the vice, which is part of retrogressive cultural practices that continue to violate the fundamental rights of women and girls.
Small children, 1 month, 2 months, are going through the same thing, but what is even more horrific is that it's done by their immediate relative. Where would you have a culture that would want a 2-3 month old baby to undergo FGM and in such a horrific manner?
Sisi wazee tumekaa chini tukaona hiyo ni culture potovu na ni culture ambayo haina maana, na tukisema kwamba hiyo culture lazima tuipinge na tuikatae.
Taita Taveta has to have his own policy on ending FGM, and the strategies and the action plans in that policy must respond to the new trend in Taita Taveta. So we're going to be able to put on monitoring systems to track, but also response systems and protection systems, since it's obvious that we have to protect them right from birth.
The vice is becoming rampant in Mata, Kitobo, and Sabaita sub-counties, with Taita Taveta County Woman Representative Lydia Haika saying that the county has set aside 5 million shillings to build safe houses for victims of FGM.
Stakeholders wengine wale watakuja on board ili tuweze kuweka vyumba hivyo, ili tuweze kuokoa wale ambao watapatikana na majanga kama hayo ama watahitaji kuwa salama kwa ushauri ama kwa hali yoyote ile.
According to the State of World Population 2020 report released by the United Nations Population Fund, 200 million women and girls alive today have undergone some form of genital mutilation across 31 countries. 4.1 million people are at risk of being subjected to the retrogressive cultural right in the year 2020. For Channel 1 News, I'm Catherine Achieng'a.
And now a family in Kajiado is in agony over the missing body of a son who recently drowned at a dam in Kiserian. The 15-year-old boy, Form 1 student, died after drowning on Sunday at the water body that has recently claimed a number of locals. Family members and villagers have pitched camp around the dam with the hope that his body will surface soon. Details of this story and others in our County News Watch.
The distress engulfing this family in Kiserian is striking. The 15-year-old son drowned in this dam 4 days ago, and his remains are yet to be located despite widespread searches since the day of the tragedy. It is believed that the teenage boy was swimming alongside his peers before he was submerged in waters never to be seen again.
Vijana na nyinyi na waambia ya kwamba tusishindane na maji. You can't win kwa sababu this dam is very deep. Na huwezi kuvuka from the other side. Many times utashindwa ukiwa katikati na pengine utazima.
In the meantime, a matatu driver perished in an accident along the Mutarakwa-Mai-Mahiu road that left 11 others nursing serious injuries, according to eyewitnesses. The accident involving a matatu and lorry occurred when the driver of the passenger vehicle lost control of the van before ramming into a stationary truck. Residents claim that the area has become a black spot owing to numerous accidents occurring at the scene.
Tumeshuhudia ajali mingi sana katika eneo hili, na sana sana hii eneo barabara ya Ndia. Waweze kutuwekea zile bump ili tuweze kupunguza gari ambazo zinasonga kwa mwendo wa kasi, tuweze kupunguza hizo speed.
Meanwhile, a section of artists from Migori are blaming their dwindling fortunes on alleged inability of the Music Copyright Society of Kenya to regulate the industry. Led by Elisha Outa alias Elisha Toto and John Okinyi alias Osigo Winyo, the artists lamented the miserable economic status most of their colleagues find themselves in, maintaining that state agencies mandated with their welfare have failed in executing the role. These claims were made as an event to plan at the burial of legendary Ohangla artist Catherine Achieng'a, who recently passed away.
Lakini muziki inakuliwa na watu wengi. Unaona, unapata msanii anafanya bidii, lakini bidii yake hawezi tekeleza ile ndoto zake. Juu unapata mwingine anakudanganya, anakusaidia, kumbe anakukula.
In the meantime, NCIC Chairman Dr. Reverend Samuel Kobia has confirmed that the agency has successfully mediated peace meetings in Narok for the last 1 month since the onset of community clashes in the area. The anti-hate agency further disclosed that it is narrowing down on some politicians and individuals who might be culpable of inciting communities into violence amid push for their prosecution.
At that particular meeting, it was decided that women themselves decided they are not going to Pigaduru anymore. The young people agreed that they will themselves will not pick up weapons for fighting, so peace prevails, and that peace is continuing.
Finally, Nairobi Regional Commissioner Wilson Njenga has called on traders at the busy Gikomba market to cooperate with the government as it seeks to modernize the market and make it easily accessible. While expressing sympathy with the traders who have suffered losses due to tragedies that have afflicted the famous market, Njenga warned the traders against opposing government initiatives aimed at making the marketplace conducive for all, especially through expansion of road networks leading to the market.
So it is in the interest of all the traders and the general public for the NMS to be allowed to complete the grading and improvement of these access roads for the benefit of the traders and the general public. For those who are affected, I think what we did is that there is already a market there under construction, which will accommodate many people, over 2,000. And that's under the State Department for Housing. And we are in agreement that we need to fast track the completion of that market to accommodate the many traders who do not have space.
Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
Very well, it's time for us to take a break on Channel 1 Newshour, but when we come back, we have the business news. It is the first day of the return of local flights, so you'll get the details of that after this break.
Next on.
Ngoja niulize jamaa, nani hapa hivi amepimwa hivi majuzi?
Pale kwa Mwangi, si ni 10 bob.
Sijasema kupimwa weight. Saa hizi kupimwa HIV ni haraka na ni bure.
From the Mount Kenya region to Eastern, to the Rift Valley, to Western, and even the Coast region.
Kukuwa na HIV si eti ni mwisho.
Wewe uko nayo?
Mimi nilishapima.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue.
Hamjambo wa Kenya wenzangu. Mimi ni Mheshimiwa Mize. Ninalotaka kuambia ni kuwasihi ya kwamba korona iko. Na ili tupigane nayo na tuishinde. Ukikohoa, tafadhali kama una ile ya kujifunika ile tissue, weka mkono hapa. Kama ni chafya yako atyo na itabakia pale pale. Kama ni kukohoa yako koholea hapo. Na nakwambia tukizingatia sheria na tuitii, hii korona tutaishinda na nchi yetu tutarudi kama kawaida.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Mimi si mtoto. You know very well that was my idea and you ended up taking it. You have a lot of explaining to do.
Madam Julia.
Can you guys believe that he was hooking me up with his father?
He is not my father.
Aye?
Can we move on to a more valuable topic?
This Joan?
Oh, Joan, she's...
Can you not talk to me, please? Thank you. I'd hold my tongue if I were you.
What I'm trying to say is that you can give me that better. You know I can do others.
And in business news, the government will study how effective the aviation health protocols are to guide resumption of international flights, which are expected in 2 weeks' time. Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia made the remarks when he flagged off Kenya Airways' inaugural flight to Mombasa Wednesday morning after a 3-month suspension to curtail the spread of COVID-19. The airline has also commenced flights to Kisumu City.
After halting operations for 99 days, flag carrier Kenya Airways has resumed local flights Wednesday amid strict measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
And for us to have been certified by the Ministry of Health, for us to have complied with international protocols, I have to give commendation to all the teams concerned. Let me thank Kenya Airways, in particular, for the special attention they've given to this country during this time of COVID-19. During this very difficult time, KQ has helped this country bring in the much required medical supplies. You know, some from Europe, some from China, which was critical to our survival. KQ also brought in the personal protective equipment here to make sure that our medical staff could actually be safe.
Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia flagged off flights to Mombasa and Kisumu, with 66 passengers on board headed to the lakeside city. Despite the lift-off, passengers were not offered the usual in-flight meals. Further, passengers will now be required to sanitize their hands several times, starting from the main gate up until the point of boarding the plane.
Many of Kenyans who are over there in Europe, in the US, in China, and in India cannot wait to come back. But let's make sure that these local flights are the benchmark for success. Because if you don't do it properly, it means that opportunity to fly international may be reversed. And so this is a test period of 2 weeks. Michael and Alan, I'm sure you not disappoint us. Civil aviation, Kenya airports, you not disappoint us. Let's do all we can to make sure we meet the expectations of our people.
Going forward, the government will keep a keen eye on the performance of the local flights to inform resumption of international flights that is earmarked for the 1st of August.
Aviation industry is very crucial to support the tourism industry. We believe it is time for Kenyans to support our own economy by traveling all over the country so that every place you go, you have a social impact to that person who wants to make a livelihood. Let's all support domestic tourism and domestic travel.
We want the government to assist us because we depend on those crops that they have eaten to educate our children, to feed them, and we have children who are depending on us.
And victims of human-wildlife conflict will be able to initiate compensation claims if proposals by the Human-Wildlife Conflict Task Force are implemented in their current form. Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala says operationalization of the Human-Wildlife Conflict Insurance Scheme will effectively tackle a huge backlog of unpaid human-wildlife conflict compensation claims. The HWC insurance compensation will set out as a pilot scheme for at least 8 months in Taita Taveta, Narok, Meru and Kajiado counties respectively. The task force further recommends adoption of mobile money payment systems for payment of smaller claim payouts. Regina Manyara reporting for Channel 1 Business.
And now the government is strengthening its partnership with the Computer for Schools Kenya to equip institutions with advanced learning tools that will widen the thought process and stimulate new ideas among youths. Deputy President William Ruto, who made remarks when he visited the Computer for Schools Kenya, which is responsible for refurbishment and repair of electronic wastes. Now, the center also offers training to communities on electronic waste management and ICT hardware and software at its Utawala plant in Nairobi County.
E-waste is a major challenge, not just in Kenya, but worldwide.
because of the technology that goes into producing these gadgets, and because of all the elements, including lead and sulfur and all the others that go into the manufacture of these gadgets, it is necessary for us to provide for a sound legal basis for its disposal. I have gone around and I'm amazed that in Mihango there is a wonderful facility like this that is not only serving Kenya but has international reputation, and it's really amazing. And I want to thank Kados here and the team for facilitating computers for Schools Kenya to be located here in Embakasi.
And now 20,000 women smallholder farmers in Kenya stand a chance to increase their harvest and household income through a training program organized by Kotiva Agri-Science. The program will also see the farmers access agricultural inputs and market linkages. Kotiva Agri-Science country lead Humphrey Kiruaye says 2,000 farmers have already been equipped with quality hybrid seeds to upscale their harvest.
According to Kotiva Agri-Science, the program will see smallholder farmers access agricultural inputs, training and market linkages to increase their harvest and household incomes. The programs include the Kotiva Agri-Science Women in Agriculture program, where Kotiva will provide technical support to women farmer groups.
Been able to train farmers as the front end, the retailers as the front end advisors to be able to communicate certain pieces and informations to farmers. Most important is selection of the right varieties. If it's maize crop, the right varieties that they need to grow for their environment. If it's use of crop protection products, the right crop protection products to address certain challenges of pests and diseases that they're doing, and also weed management for their farms.
Kotiva Agri-Science country lead for the Kenya and Great Lakes region, Humphrey Kiruaye, says the 2,000 women farmers in Meru County have been given access to agronomic education extension services, access to financial services and market facilitation, linking them to strong commodity supply chains. This has consequently seen a 25% rise in yield.
So this is a women-only project, and they are using modern farming techniques that incorporate conservation agriculture, minimum tillage, but also responsible use of crop protection products. The results of this project is that those women are able to feed themselves sustainably. They are not buying food anymore.
Additionally, the program targets to roll out 1 acre demonstration plots under One School 1 Acre program, where demonstration plots will be set up in 35 identified schools spread across 7 counties in Kenya. This will see 20,000 primary school learners and their parents trained on sustainable agriculture and food production. The farm targets to train at least 25 million farmers in sustainable agriculture worldwide.
And now the government is banking on technical training institutes to improve Kenya's labor market, which is facing serious shortage of technical skills. Education Ministry Chief Administrative Secretary Zach Kinuthia says the government has identified Kiambu, Nairobi and Thika technical institutes to pioneer a new concept where students will spend 50% of their time in class and the other 50% in an actual work environment.
The government has marked the TVET sector to be one of the key enablers of the country's economic growth, as well as key driving force in addressing the growing youth unemployment and entrepreneurship. In the last 7 years, the government has launched several reforms, accompanied by the establishment of new government agencies responsible for the coordination and regulation of TVET institutions in the country, and the launch of competency-based curriculum for technical institutes.
You take a learner in a class for, if their course is for a year, 6 months they will be in class interacting with machines, interacting with how to operationalize machines, interacting with repairing of the same machines. Then 6 months you send them into what we call here in Kenya internships. That is an internship of a kind. It's an industrial exercise.
The job market in Kenya has become more competitive, with most industries automating their processes with the emergence of new technologies. However, most technical training centers in the country are stuck with outmoded technology, making it difficult to secure employment. Kenya has partnered with Germany, where the European nation is providing technical assistance and funding to the tune of 3 billion shillings to Kiambu Nairobi and Thika Technical Training Institutes to revamp their capacity.
Our experience is, after they finished with the dual vocational system, or TVET system in this context, they are almost immediately assets to our company. And before, what we were seeing, the theoretical education is very, very good. Sometimes we are really missing specific skills which are needed for their job later as service technicians.
Through GIZ and German Financial Corporation via KfW, the three institutes will be equipped with new workshops and state-of-the-art equipment in the relevant areas to make the practical training a hands-on experience.
Ours is actually a real collaboration between the industry and the TTI. That means our training is based on a joint curricula and a joint training plan between the industry and the TTI. I mean, plastically explained, or a little bit simplified explained, our trainees are for three months in the training institution, then they come 3 months to the industry, then they go 3 months in the training institution, and vice versa until they complete the course.
The nationwide closure of learning institutions has disrupted learning and training for over 430,000 TVET trainees. The Ministry of Education plans to reopen TVET institutions in September this year in strict adherence to the Ministry of Health guidelines for containing the coronavirus.
It's time for sports now, and Egypt and Tunisia have both expressed interest in hosting the semi-finals and finals of this year's Africa Champions League. The Confederation of African Football is looking to replace Cameroon, who on Monday withdrew from hosting the matches due to a spike in coronavirus infections in the country.
Egypt and Tunisia both want to host the semi-finals and final of this year's Africa Champions League after Cameroon withdrew on Monday following the rising cases of coronavirus in the country. The Tunisia Football Federation insists it should be hosting the games, which are planned for September. The semi-finals are both set to be Morocco against Egypt as Al Ahly play Wydad Casablanca and Zamalek take on Raja Casablanca. Before the postponement of sports around the globe due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the semi-finals were set to be played over 2 legs, home and away, with the final a one-off match on neutral territory for the first time ever. CAF announced a Final Four format, with the semi-finals being reduced to a single match. Meanwhile, Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa met a section of football representatives from Western and Nyanza regions in a series of meetings scheduled to discuss a return to football formula. The meetings also served to update the members on the just published FIFA 2020 COVID-19 protocol to be implemented when football finally resumes. Football still stands suspended since March this year, and the recommendations from the members, coupled with directives from the Ministry of Health, will be incorporated in the final return of football formula.
And now the Premier League and EFL have confirmed their summer transfer window will take place between July 27th and 5th of October, subject to the approval of FIFA. The window will open the day after the 2019-2020 Premier League season ends and close 10 weeks later. Following consultation with the EFL, a domestic-only window will also be added from October 5th and close on 16th of October. Transfers between Premier League clubs will not be able to occur during this period, but top-flight sides can trade with EFL clubs. This allows EFL clubs a fortnight to carry out sales, purchases, and in particular loans with Premier League clubs. It also allows Premier League clubs to carry out their vast majority of their business before UEFA's October 6th deadline for Champions League and Europa League registrations. Very well, it's time for us to wrap up Channel 1 News Hour tonight. As always, thank you, Kenya, for watching. My name is Catherine Achieng'a. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Lesa Odingo. For now, I leave you with Irene Muchuma Odim, who has details of what your weather looks like, and particularly given that the Kenya Meteorological Department has warned that we should expect strong winds in at least 16 counties between tomorrow and Sunday. But what does your weather look like? Irene Muchuma Odim with the details. Good night and God bless you.
That's right, Kate. The Kenya Meteorological Department has issued an alert to residents in the northeastern parts of the country and the coastal strip, and this is in regards to the strong southerly winds that are normally experienced in the region. Out from the norm of 12.4 meters per second, the speed of the same winds will be at 15.4 meters per second, and this could cause damages. It is important we take precautionary measures, and if you have plans to be by the beach side, that is at the coastal strip or in the ocean, the tides will be high. Good evening, everyone. This is Channel 1 Weather Updates. A very warm welcome. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. Nairobi area, Central Highlands, the Lake Basin region, and northwestern parts of the country are currently experiencing scattered clouds. This, as the rest of the country, is covered with scattered clouds, and that is how it will be for the rest of the night. Tomorrow in the capital, Meru and Nyeri, will wake up to a cool, cloudy and sunny morning, though it will rain in Kisii, Eldoret and Kakamega, as well as few areas over the northwestern parts of the country. A total different scenario over the northeastern parts of the country and southeastern lowlands, where it will be sunny, though it will also be cloudy in Machakos, Voi and Makindu. In Malindi and Lamu, there will be sunny conditions, but in Mombasa, there will be wet conditions of a few places. In the afternoon, we're expecting total different change in the western parts of the country. There will be showers accompanied by thunderstorms, and these will also spread to the northwestern parts of the country. The coastal strip will experience wet conditions of a few places in Malindi and Lamu. In Mombasa, it will be sunny. Similarly, in the capital, it will be sunny. Temperatures are still low. In the capital, we're expecting maximum of 21 degrees Celsius tonight. Temperatures are standing at 12 degrees Celsius. The highest temperatures across the country will be experienced in Mandera and Lodwar at 34 degrees Celsius. Those are our expectations here in the home country. Be warm. Up next is the international forecast. God bless.